1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Good morning, guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys. I'm James Hake of the Hake Report, and you can call in 888-775-3773 if you're listening or watching live. It's Wednesday, July 17th, my birthday, 2019, 9 a.m. Pacific time, the fourth hour of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show video stream. Thank you, Jesse. I like this. And you can also listen live by listening through jlptalk.com. That's the website that you can always find the Jesse Lee Peterson Show info. You can find all the links to, and hopefully it's updated as to which stream platforms are streaming Jesse's show and which ones are censoring his videos. So happy birthday to me. I'm 38. My mother told me that when I was born, I looked like a bulldog. And she shared the hospital room with a black mother who had a baby daughter. And according to her, the black father looked at me and then looked at his dainty little daughter and wanted to trade because I looked tougher. I wonder how... Anyways. So I wanted to, before I get to the calls, I wanted to show at the beginning of this... intro, we were playing, Joel was showing different screenshots. And I wanted to announce, first of all, last night we played 1992 episodes from Black History Month of Jesse Peterson, talking about the problems and solutions in the black community. Still relevant today, probably more relevant today than even then, actually. And then tonight, I'm happy to announce, if you subscribe to Bond Rebuilding the Man and ring the bell so that you get the notifications when it goes live, we are premiering a 2008 Sunday service about blind judgment. It's cool. It's going to be fun. So Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel. Subscribe, follow all that stuff. We're going to be streaming it at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and it's an hour and a half Sunday service. It's cool. So Wednesday night, huh? Like a Bible study. So, I also wanted to talk about this disgrace to white history. This Antifa guy, I happened to read his manifesto, this Antifa terrorist guy who wanted to basically shut down ICE, stop the people who are trying to stop the illegals from coming in, at least control the situation. This guy was 73 years old, and he had the bright idea of making himself useful by bombing a for-profit place that was working with ICE in terms of detaining illegal aliens, so-called migrants. So, and this is where he was shot. This is a picture of where he was shot if you're watching the video. I'm looking at a place that has a big propane tank on the other side of a fence and asphalt, presumably where this man was shot, and all these messages written by Antifa supporters up in Tacoma, Washington area. And I did receive a phone call from a caller who's from this same area, says that everybody acts like this guy was a hero. And it says, arm in arm with John Brown, which was some guy that was trying to free slaves, I guess. And he was violent about it, maybe. It says, Willem, murdered by TPD, I forget what that means, Tacoma Police Department, 7/13/19, murdered, huh? Whatever. He was carrying a gun. He was not murdered. He was armed with a ghost rifle. Thank you, Willem. All this stuff, rest in power. Dumb people thinking like blacks. It's a black thing to say rest in power rather than rest in peace, because they want to pretend that they have power. So, anyways, I want to read a little bit of some excerpts from this Antifa guy's manifesto and tell you where I got them. I got them from this male, white, black, mixed, named Sean King, who is a Black Lives Matter supporter. He never responds to invitations to come on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. In fact, he blocked Jesse Lee Peterson on Twitter. He is a beta male, and I have some tweets from him that he deleted in support of this guy. So it says Willem van Spronsen, or whatever his name is, just became the first martyr attempting to liberate imprisoned refugees from a for-profit detention center in Tacoma, Washington. His hero was John Brown, the white abolitionist who led the raid on Harper's Ferry in 1859. This is what our country has come to. And then it shows pictures of this man playing guitar. I'm told that he wasn't a very good musician. And then the place where he died. And so Sean King was lionizing this guy. And then he said, we are told that this is the final letter of Willem van Spronsen, who was shot and killed by law enforcement as he attempted an attack on a for-profit refugee detention center in Tacoma, Washington. It's a beautiful, painful, devastating letter. This is Sean King saying this. He wasn't crazy. Inaction is. So he supports terror attacks on and vandalism of private property. Okay, and then what else did he say? He said something like, is there another tweet? Zoom in on that. This is where Willem was murdered this weekend. So, and it's showing that picture that I told you about, where with the facility and the writing, chalk writing by Antifa supporters. His actions will be called terrorism, and people will call him crazy, but neither are true. His mind was very clear. He is now arm in arm with John Brown, and he's quoting the chalk writing. These camps must be shut down. So they call the illegal alien detention centers concentration camps. And so I read this guy's letter to see if it was crazy or not crazy, beautiful or not beautiful. And it was not beautiful. It was crazy. And it reminded me a lot, honestly, of these, these alt-right-esque letters by, for example, that eco-terrorist, eco-fascist who shot up the Muslim mosques over in New Zealand, or that self-righteous guy who shot up the synagogue down in San Diego area, Poway, California, or Poway, California. This man didn't murder anybody. He was definitely putting people at risk. He burned a car, and he tried to burn a propane tank, and he tried to take out buses. According to Antifa sympathizers, he wasn't hurting anybody. He was just trying to stop the buses from running so that they couldn't support, they couldn't distribute these illegals to different parts of the country to be detained or something. I don't know. Whatever. So here's some of the excerpts from this guy's letter. It's like a 3-page manifesto, basically a suicide note, talking about, he's talking about how brokenhearted he is. Just show some random ones. Okay, this is actually towards the beginning of his letter. He says, I have a father's broken heart. I have a broken down body. He's 73. I have an unshakable abhorrence of injustice. Yeah, that's that self-righteousness that I'm telling you about. This is what brings me here. This is my clear opportunity to make a difference. I'd be an ingrate for waiting for a more obvious invitation. I follow 3 teachers, and I haven't looked these teachers up. Maybe you are familiar with them. Don Pritz, my spiritual guide. Love without inaction is just a word. John Brown, my moral guide. What is needed is action. That was the guy that tried to free the slaves. And Emma Goldman, my political guide. If I can't dance, I don't want to be in your revolution. So this was an emotional guy. And then let's show more. I set aside my broken heart and I heal the only way I know how, by being useful. Isn't that so white? I efficiently compartmentalize my pain. I joyfully go about this work. So this guy's he's acting out of guilt. I don't let your silly government agencies spend money investigating this one. I was radicalized in civics class at age 13 when we were taught about the Electoral College. It was at that point that I decided that the status quo might be a house of cards. Further reading confirmed in the positive. I highly recommend reading. So white, like I said, intellectual nonsense. He was talking, and the Electoral College is what it saves us from a democracy, which is mob rule, and it helps the minorities be represented. And he goes, I am a man who loves you all and this spinning ball. So he was not a flat earther. So much that I am going to fulfill my childhood promise to myself to be noble. So these people are so, just like the alt-right people. Well, I don't know. I call them alt-right, but they, the Jew blamers, the eco-fascists who blamed them over in New Zealand, who blamed the Muslims for pollution and for overpopulation because the Muslims are having babies and whites are not. Here it is in these corporate for-profit concentration camps. Here it is in brown and non-conforming folks. He's kissing up to the brown folks. Afraid to show their faces for fear of the police, Migra, Proud Boys, the boss, Becky's. I forget what Becky's means. White women, something like that. Here it is, a planet almost used up by the market's greed. So, is there any more? Are there any more like that? I think that's... Oh, yeah. This man said, my trans comrades, meaning transgender comrades, fellow communists, have transformed me, solidifying my conviction that we will be guided to a dreamed of future by most marginalized among us today. I have dreamed it so clearly that I have no regret not seeing how it turns out, meaning he knows that he's going to die in this stunt that he pulled. Thank you for bringing me so far along. I think that's the last of them, huh? Yeah. So this man wasted his life pursuing something that his fellow comrades propped him up in and praised him for and even lionized him in his death. Isn't that a waste of a life? And that's like a life warning to us, to everybody, that you can be so self-deceived and so self-righteous in what you're pushing for. His thinking is no different from the Jew blamers or the Muslim blamers, the eco-fascists, like I said, the alt-right, that he hated. Luckily, he didn't kill anybody, like I said. And I guess he didn't have any intention to. Most people in their 70s aren't thinking of killing people. They don't have as much, testosterone. They don't have as much aggression anymore. And like he said, he was emotionally and physically broken down. So he committed suicide by cop. But, and even a fellow Antifa member, actually, said that it was suicide by cop. But people like Sean King calls it murder. And, fellow Antifa sympathizers call it murder. But an Antifa friend told the truth, it's suicide by cop. So I just wanted to point that out. That's an extreme example of white failure. This man was white, or at least mixed white. I don't know. But it's such a shame. Like I said, it's an extreme example of the ridiculousness of why whites are becoming history. Let me get to Dale, first-time caller out of Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the range. How are you doing, Dale?
James.
Nice to hear from you.
Happy birthday. It's your birthday, huh?
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to take a shot at, since Jesse's on that biblical question he had.
Yeah, you like Jesse's biblical question? He asked the question, which is worse, physical or verbal abuse? And that was the one that I was afraid to answer.
Well, I'll give you a definition of two of them, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
All right, check it out. Physical abuse is what a man does to a woman. Like spousal abuse, child abuse, where they have marks on their body.
Okay.
Right, now here's a definition of verbal abuse.
All right.
Verbal abuse is what Jesse did to that young lady Heather last week.
Which one? Young lady Heather. Is
that
that,
white, that white lady?
jog my memory on which one was Heather?
All right.
I think I know,
this lady called Jesse and said she was married to a black man.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to know what problem does Jesse have with races marrying outside of other races.
He doesn't really have a problem. Listen. He doesn't have a problem with it, but what her mindset coming into it, because she came in lecturing Jesse about how he talks about black people. And this is a white woman swooping in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. So that revealed her mindset. You know, it shed light on why she went for the black man as opposed to a white man. So like some people let me just qualify. Some people go into like an interracial relationship just not thinking about it, not knowing better, whatever. It's who they grew up around, all that stuff. And like, Joel has said in the past that he goes more for Mexicans than blacks or whites or Asians, of course. Well, that's because that's what he grew up around. And then,
man, I'm sorry, but like, love has no color.
Huh?
Basically, love has no color.
I know, but that's not love anyways.
You either love a person for who they are, and color should not even be it shouldn't even make a difference.
It has more to do with lust than love, honestly.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that men and women coming together has more to do with lust?
Oh no, dude, love, like I said, love has no color, man.
I know, but that's not love.
If you want to get technical about it, go back in the past. Jack Johnson was a heavyweight champion of the world. He married a white woman.
Let me tell you one thing. You believe you're a Christian, right? In the Bible, you believe in the Bible. You believe what the Bible says.
Do I believe in it?
No,
let me tell you something. Christians have like different definitions. I don't follow none of that.
You a Christian though?
I live what?
You a Christian?
Those have different definitions.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to get into the technical part of it,
man, it's just a simple question. This is just a side note question. My point about let me skip over that whole conversation because it's funny that people get caught up in that issue.
Go ahead.
So in the Bible, it's never referred to what happens between a man and a woman. It's never referred to as love. I don't think it is. I mean, a husband should love his wife, and the wife should respect her husband. But listen. What are you laughing at?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
That's not love. That's what happens between a man and a woman. That's not the love. That's not what love is. So I wouldn't throw around the word love and talk about color with that stuff.
So you don't think other people of different colors can love other people of other different colors? You don't believe that?
Of course you can, but you're talking about sex. You're talking about sex and marriage and all that stuff.
No.
What do you mean when you talk about love then?
No, let me explain something to you. I have family members that married outside of their race.
Huh? Yeah, of course. Me too.
I mean, they always throw lust into that thing. You know what? Some of these people knew each other for 5 to 10 years before they even got married.
I know.
So,
yep.
You can't always throw lust into that, man.
Yeah, okay. Whatever, man.
Well, look, all right. Let me make an example. All right?
No, I get you.
You're all
over the place, man.
I'm an old millennial. Okay, I'm Maze, Earl, T, and Tony's age.
Okay.
And a lot of stuff Jesse says, I'll laugh at it because you know what? I was in the military. Here's the point I'm making right now. I was in the military. The stuff he says about women not being able to teach religion, that's totally false. You know why? Because back when you're in basic training, any kind of problem, you go talk to a chaplain. And I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of them are female. So I was wondering what kind of point would he make about that.
He would
a lot
not.
Of them are female.
He would. That's a shame. That's crazy.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm gonna tell you something, James. Back then, when you were in the military, if you didn't want to take that, you didn't have to take it. But if you tried to sit there and argue with them, they would argue 15 you right out of there. Oh, wow. That you say that's wrong for females to take not to teach religion?
Yeah, I don't think that a female should be the chaplain. That doesn't make sense. That's kind of like going to a female dating coach if you're a man. It's like
a what?
A female dating coach if you're a man. It's just as embarrassing.
You know what? Men that do that stuff have low self-esteem.
Yeah. And so do the ones that have to go to a female chaplain.
That part about.
But here, let me just make this brief point about the interracial thing. I think that the interracial people get interracial because it seems it doesn't look right most of the time, and it seems to be
look right.
Yeah, it just doesn't. And there is.
And tell me why is that?
And I don't know. I can't really express it. But
see, you
hold
have
on, man.
Validation for that.
No, you can know something's wrong. No, you can know something seems off or is wrong or whatever without being able to express why. There's lots of examples of that. But I'm just telling you, there's wisdom to tradition, and traditional cultures of all races want their children to get with the same race or culture, and that's just a fact. And then only whites are being accused of racism when that happens, but the parents of all cultures are unhappy when they're
racism in every race, man.
But it's not racism.
It's not just white.
It's not racism, man.
White. I mean, y'all might think it's not existing. I'm gonna tell you, dude. I'm an older person.
I know.
I've seen it myself. Y'all call it hatred. It's blatant racism.
No, it's not. It's not hatred either. Listen, Dale.
Y'all can continue to deny it. But
no, it's. Yeah,
dude, I mean,
definitely.
These older cars like Maze, Earl T, and Tony, I'm pretty sure
nutcases.
They themselves. You know?
All right, man.
I'm giving a shout out to them.
Cool. Yeah, they're nice people. Kind of.
Oh, yeah, they're very nice people. I can relate to them because I'm around their age, so
yeah.
I'm giving a shout out to them.
Seemingly just as immature as them, too. No offense, but it just seems like that.
Oh, you want to go that route?
I'm just saying, it's just my...
You want to go that...
It's just my impression.
James?
Just my impression, man. No offense.
You want to go that route about immature?
Yeah.
I got you dead to rights, and that's all y'all can do is insult people.
I'm not trying to insult. I'm just saying.
I've noticed that most people that call y'all show, and if they have some certain point to make, y'all completely try to go for that insult. That's how Jesse does.
Hey, man.
No,
yeah, Jesse tries. I'll tell you what. I'm going to defend Jesse right here because you're lying about him. He doesn't try to insult people. He tries to wake them up.
Are you serious?
Dead serious on that.
Let me make
he never tries to he never tries to embarrass anybody, make anybody mad, or make them afraid or intimidate or anything like that. He or bully. You accuse him of verbal abuse against Heather. I just remember that.
No.
So listen, he tells people the truth to wake them up, or his impression. So
the truth.
Yeah.
Hey James, check this out.
Last point.
I've watched a few of Jesse's videos. I remember he had a border angel on his show.
Oh yeah, Enrico Morones.
Jesse told that man he should have let them people die in the desert.
Yes.
Now you tell me what kind of Christian is he?
The right kind of Christian.
No.
Yes. Don't be aiding and abetting illegal aliens coming in, invading the country. This Enrique Morones is a fake Christian, and he hung up like a beta male and ran off and got the chicken song.
That's another thing right there. That beta and alpha thing.
Yeah.
That's only referred to animals, man.
I know, but it's just
a boy or a female. You're either a woman or a girl.
It's just a metaphor for a weak or a strong, a right or wrong. That's all that means. So don't be thinking too much about it.
That's fun. That stuff is kind of hilarious to me. Humorous.
It may be funny, but it's also a serious point. So consider it.
A serious point to call a man an animal.
Yeah. Yep.
No, James. Here's another point I want to put out.
I gotta go, man.
Yeah. Okay. You can run.
All right. Thank you, Dale. Call again, though.
All right.
It's fun to talk to you.
All right.
All right. Bye. Man. So, anyways, let me get to Skip out of Augusta, Georgia. Skip, how are you?
Hey, James, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Nice to hear from you.
Look at here. I know sometimes we disagree on things like the last phone call and all, but I want to tell you something, James. I really respect you. You are a good young man, and I just think a lot of you, James, and I want to wish you a happy birthday, buddy.
All right, thank you, Skip. I appreciate that. And
can-
thank you
can I
for
say something
always
regarding
watching
that
and
last-
joining in
Can I say something about that last caller?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. You remember who Muhammad Ali was, right?
Yeah, the boxer. And
Yeah, one of the
he
greatest
changed his name
heavyweight
from Cassius
boxers.
Clay. He changed his name from
That's
a
right.
decent man to an evil Muslim man. Crazy.
One of the best heavyweight boxers there ever was.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with him on a lot of things, but one of the smartest things he ever said was about race mixing. He said, "Why in the world would a black man want to marry a Chinese woman when they got two different cultures? He can't speak Chinese. They don't listen to the same music." He says, "Why does a black man want to marry a white woman and have a little blonde, curly-haired, blue-eyed young'un running around behind?" He said, "Bluebirds fly with bluebirds, red birds fly with red birds. And the birds have got more sense than we do."
Yeah, man. He
I'm
was
not-
a little
you know, I'm-
he was a little
the
off
The mixed race
because
children can't help it. I understand that, but we don't need to keep doing it.
yeah, the mixed race children end up feeling alienated from their own parents and society and everything. It's
Yeah,
maybe
you're right.
less so now, but they one thing about Muhammad Ali with this mixing thing, I don't disagree. That's fine what he said there, but one thing that he said, according to the antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood, I believe that he said that if he got that name Cassius Clay and he had some white blood, he was more light-skinned than some guy that he accused of being a house Negro or Uncle Tom or something like that. There was this famous other boxer. I'm blanking on the guy's name. But he said that I think that he's lied. Maybe this was Malcolm X, who was his mentor. Joe Frazier, yeah. Joe Frazier was darker than him and really grew up in the fields, but he was called the house Negro. Crazy. Anyways, it was either Malcolm X or this man that you mentioned, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, who lied and said that the white blood came into his blood through rape and blah, 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 blah. Meaning he's accusing his white ancestors of raping his black ancestors, which it was not true. Some Irishman, if I remember correctly, one of these guys had an ancestor of like an open-minded Irishman who got with a freed slave or something like that. So these people are such liars. You know, like they talk about, and these mixed race, you know, these blacks that are mixed race, they're some of the nastiest people, overcompensating or out of something crazy. They have like the worst aspects of the whites and the worst aspects of the blacks. Anyways, I'm just spouting off, but I appreciate that quote, Skip. Thank you.
You're right, James. And again, happy birthday, okay, buddy?
All right, thank you. Take care.
Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Let me get to some more calls. I've been talking about these Epstein clips forever, but let me get to a couple of calls real fast. Willy, North Carolina, first-time caller. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I want to say first, happy birthday. I just found out your birthday, and
Nice, thank you.
I love your show. I'm a big fan of you and Jesse.
Cool.
I'm here in North Carolina, and there's a Trump rally going on tonight.
Nice.
I got tickets to go to, and I got a random call from the college, Eastern Carolina, where the rally's going to be held by, saying that if we bring a full-size pickup truck or a SUV, we will be charged for it. There's no charge for compact cars except for full-size SUVs and pickup trucks.
Discrimination.
That was never stated before.
Yeah.
So I think it's just one of the ways they're trying to deter people from showing up.
Yeah.
The guy you had on before was, as Jesse says, a real beta male. the guy before Skip.
Yeah, Dale, I think.
He was 100% beta male.
Yeah.
But you guys are amazing, man. You guys are out there preaching the truth, man, and we need more of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I am of Romanian descent.
Okay.
But I was born in the United States, and I'm an American citizen. But I'm of Romanian descent. My whole family is Trump supporters, and we believe in making America great again. My grandfather tells tales of when he first came here of how great the country was, and then how it fell apart under the Obama regime, and now how it's becoming great again. So
yeah,
it's amazing. People see me run around town here in this little small town I live in too, with Trump hats and shirts on, and I'm brown skinned, and I kind of look like I'm Hispanic, but it's amazing to see how many haters there's out there.
Yeah, Trump haters.
Yeah, there's a lot of Trump haters, man.
Yeah,
but I appreciate you, man. Happy birthday, and I just want to throw that in there that these guys are trying to even deter Trump rallies now.
Yeah, that's a mess. It's you can kind of understand it because they're trying to make more room for all the parking because these Trump rallies are packed. They're very popular. Tens of thousands, if not tens of thousands of people show up. And so I can kind of understand them trying to control the amount of encourage people to carpool and all that stuff.
Well,
but I also know that these liberal, most universities are liberal, and they're anti-Trump, they're anti-truth, they're anti-America.
Within a 150-mile radius of Greenville, North Carolina, no one can get a hotel.
Wow.
There's a 150-mile radius all the way around Greenville, and in Greenville, there's no hotels.
Wow.
They're expecting at least 10,000 people to be at the rally tonight.
Yeah. That is nice.
That is nice.
Cool, Willie. Let us know how it goes.
I sure will, man.
All right, and good luck there. Be careful.
Buddy, you have a good day.
All right, you as well. Take care. Happy White History Month, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take care. London, first-time caller out of Maryland. London, how are you? Hey.
I'm good. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I just heard a whole lot. For a first-time caller, I'll just say, that was a lot. I went through Skip. I went through like 10 devotions while I was waiting.
Yeah, I bet.
It was quite the roller coaster, I tell you.
Cool. What do you want to say?
I wanted to call one because I love the fact that you guys have a platform that you can voice your opinions.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome that you guys haven't been shut down or anything like that. You guys keep pressing on,
Yeah. Jesse's been shut down since 1990. He's been not shut down, but kicked off of radio stations and stuff. He's used to this stuff. It doesn't faze him.
Oh well,
he says
I
you
can
can't
only
censor
imagine.
him.
It's, when you're dealing with issues that no one wants to admit to, that's when everyone starts just trying to run like little ants underneath the rocks. It's
yep.
Hide, the water's coming. But I wanted to comment on the mixed races because I am of mixed race.
Yeah.
My mother is white, and she's white and Eskimo, and my dad is African American.
Yeah.
And I grew up in where my father's mom was more so you keep the red birds with the red birds and the blue birds with the blue birds, I think Skip was saying, And I grew up with that aspect too, but that came from a lot of pain that my grandmother endured. She was born in the 1920s and early 1920s, so she's seen a lot more than we had, and she didn't evolve with the world changing like we were. My dad was actually an alpha male. He took care of his two daughters, mixed kids, and during where it was really not as, I guess you would say, as normal as it is now.
Yeah.
When I was going to class, in my class, it was just white, black, Asian, and then it was like 2 mixed girls.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you? I don't know.
Your dad was married to your mother?
I'm sorry?
Your parents were married?
No, they were not. They were not. Nope. I'm a child out of wedlock.
You have a sister, full-blooded sister or something?
Yep, I have one sister. We have the same mom and dad.
Okay.
Yep. My dad took us both when we were about 3 months old.
Yeah.
And he raised us ever since.
Okay.
With the help of my grandmother, of course.
Yeah.
But he has his own business. I told him he needs
twins?
to vote Republican because he's really like a Republican. I mean, he's got the, fire range. He's got the 4-wheelers. He's got the land, his own business. He just feels sorry for them, the problems and the social problems that Democrats bring to the table.
Yeah, so he falls for that feeling sorry for people stuff, huh? He falls for the feeling. Are you and your sister twins or something? You said when we were 3 months old.
No, my dad had me. I'm a year and a half older than her.
Oh, okay.
So when, I guess he double dipped.
Right.
She got pregnant again. My mom got pregnant again, and then he went back down there when she was 3 months, and he got her too.
Okay.
Went back to Florida, I mean.
Yeah.
I'm from Maryland.
Yeah. Wow. So your dad is a feel sorry for people Democrat, but he's like
there's a lot of them.
Yeah, you say he was an alpha male and working in.
We were growing up. My dad never said white people are bad. He never said black people are bad. He taught us to recognize the good in people and be good people.
Yeah.
So that if someone were to do something mean or vicious to us, we'd recognize that and alarm off. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like a mirror reaction. Whatever you put out into the world is what you receive in.
Yeah. Did you ever turn on your mother or your dad in terms of the race thing? Did you ever fall for the race stuff?
No, I didn't. I didn't because my dad only dated. He was the one out of my grandmother's 7 children who dated only white women.
Rebel.
Yeah, he was.
Wow.
All my brothers, he has 7 kids too, and we're all mixed.
Yeah, man, that is interesting. That's wild.
Yeah, but he never taught us, race in that manner. He never taught us, this person could do this thing to you, or
That's
this
good.
person. He always said, you're responsible for your actions. If you go out there and try to rob somebody, it's not just your face. That's your spirit doing that. You have to control yourself inside. So I think that if a lot of families taught those type of household values, like Mr. Jesse says, all the time, he's like, listen, I'm not fighting against black people and their problems. I'm just saying acknowledge that there is a problem inside of our households that we're not taking care of.
Is your father still living?
Yes, he is.
What's he think of President Trump?
I'm sorry?
What's he think of President Trump?
He feels as though Trump is not. The way he describes it to me is he wants a more not passionate, but a more like someone that can cater to someone's feelings. Like, a man can admit that he's wrong, and he can take steps to make, change those, those decisions to not make the same mistakes again. So if he's saying things that permanently hurt another person, acknowledge that and say, hey, sorry, man, and then maybe keep those comments to yourself. My dad thinks that Trump is vicious when it comes to his language.
That's how people think of Jesse, too. Everybody who tells the truth in love gets accused of hate. But
one thing he did say that is something that we all say, if you don't like this country, get out.
Exactly.
I mean, that's everyone says that.
Yep.
Everybody says that. So why is he being scrutinized for that, saying that? But, we're not all bringing to the table the real problems. It seems like With no one's having policies. No one's saying, "Hey, I got a policy for that." Hey, I got a policy for that.
Right.
They're just saying, oh, "Can you believe what he said?" No, I can't. 2 weeks later, he said this. No, where's the policies at?
Yeah, the media, and the Democrats and the rhinos are all really ridiculous, and they don't care about what's important. Meanwhile, like, we have MS-13 dismembering people and all kinds of madness happening. And we've had a national emergency at the border for years, decades, and now it's even getting worse because people are trying to get in fast before Trump does anything to shut it down. And it's horrible. And then they're blaming ICE for trying to take care of the problem when ICE is being overrun. ICE and Border Patrol and all of them are being overrun. So these people they don't want to solve the problems. They just want to hate the white man, especially Trump.
Let's just be clear on this. This is not it's not just a white person that is in control of this.
It's a good white person.
We are in control of it as citizens because of the way we vote. When we choose not to vote, that's when we give up the right to say anything about the policies that are being made in the first place.
I agree.
So if you don't like the policies, vote different parties.
Yep. I appreciate it, London.
That's all I can say, you know?
Thank you for the call, Lyndon. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
Call again. All right.
You too.
Bye. Man, I wanted to get to this Epstein stuff, but I prefer not to ignore the callers. And so we'll get to the Epstein stuff eventually. I want to talk about one of these people who purports to be a victim, and she's not innocent either. Ebony, out of Austin, Texas. How are you doing, Ebony?
I'm doing good.
Nice.
Well, okay, fine.
I know what you mean. Don't know how to answer those questions.
Yeah, I just blurt out whatever, I guess. Don't think about it first. I wanted to talk about interracial dating and mixed race kids. And
you're a millennial, right?
A millennial? Yeah.
Okay. All millennials practically grew up amongst a bunch of other races, so they get attracted to other races. That's what it seems like.
That's true. It's like when I was back in the 90s when I was in school, and like everybody got along, all the kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Not really, but you know.
I know what you mean.
You have to have tough skin and you have to stand up for yourself.
But that's just
run over.
Yeah, that's just human interaction.
Like in the 90s, everybody had like braids, dreadlocks, and stuff like that, right? And nobody was complaining about, you know, the other races having braids and dreadlocks. Everybody got along.
Yeah.
And everybody thought, you know, we all God's children back then.
It got worse. It got worse thanks to Obama. I mean, Obama helped make it worse. Again.
Yeah, I really believe that.
Yeah.
And I'm in an interracial relationship right now.
Yeah.
And it's like if we decided to get married and we decided to bring both of our families together, and my family is more Democrats and liberals, which they say they're not, but they are. And then his side is more Republicans and probably rhinos too.
Right.
And we bring these people together.
But your families don't have to come together?
Like, you know how, like, when you get married,
oh, yeah, I guess
you want a big, you know, you want your family there. And
do you already have kids with him?
Oh, I don't have kids with him. He doesn't have kids.
Okay. But you have kids with somebody else?
Yeah. I have kids with somebody else. I have 3 kids, and all my kids got different daddies. You remember when I first called and I was telling Jesse all this? And Jesse, you know, the caller that you had before was saying that Jesse assaults people or whatever?
Yeah, verbally abuses them.
If you tell him the truth, like if you tell him the truth about a situation, that's not assaulting. That's just telling the truth, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So, so when I first talked to Jesse, I was telling him that I have 3 kids and 3 different baby daddies.
How old are they now?
And I have my oldest is 15, my middle one is 12, and my youngest, he's a boy, he's 8.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
They're living
And,
with, who are they living with mostly?
My girls, their dads are in their life, and for my little boy, me and my auntie have joint custody over him.
Man, what a mess, huh?
Oh yeah, my life is a mess. That's why I call y'all every day, basically, just to talk.
Yeah.
So I won't go crazy.
Because
But,
I remember one of the earlier times that you called, I was encouraging you to move out from this white boyfriend that you have. Well, just move out from him regardless of color, but move out from him.
mm-hmm.
And just get yourself a job that you can take care of yourself and your son, and just be a good example, because you're losing, like, if I recall correctly, you're losing your daughter, your older daughters, or daughter,
Yeah.
one of them at least, because they have bad influence. Like, you've complained about all the bad influences in your family, but you're a bad influence too. And that's even worse because you're the mother. You know what I mean? What do you think
I
about
do
when Jesse
exactly.
tells people not to be with another man when you have kids that are underage, especially?
Yeah, and I've been struggling with that because,
Do you agree with it though?
the rent, huh?
Do you agree with it?
I agree with everything you're saying. It's totally the truth.
Yeah.
But this is why I am suffering, and, I have high blood pressure, anxiety, depression, and stuff like that because I kind of judge myself a lot. A lot. And I'm like into the sex thing,
Yeah.
trying to find love through that. And yeah, so.
Sounds like your boyfriend is a rhino too.
Yeah, he's like, his family know about politics and know to vote in the right way.
But they don't live right.
Because they're white.
Yeah.
But, his sister is a lesbian.
Oh, yeah.
He's
A white
dating
lesbian.
Black girl.
What's that?
Huh? His sister is a lesbian, and he's dating a black girl, and his dad is like angry all the time and treat his mama like she's his little woman that got to do what a man's supposed to do. It's
Man.
It's weird. Yeah, it is weird. And he's like both of his parents, right? He got his dad anger and his mom, emotions and sweetness and just the emotion part of his mother, but his dad anger.
Yeah.
And but he's a nice guy. He's nice. And
that's not a good thing. You remind me of so many millennials, of us millennials, that know the right thing, agree with the right thing, but just can't do the right thing. And it's just, meanwhile, like, our lives are getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
I wouldn't, Jesse, one of the early things that I learned, and it makes a lot of sense from what Jesse says in church and stuff, is don't be naming this stuff as depression, anxiety, and all that stuff. Because when you name it, that's like the people who call themselves incels. You're attaching yourself to what that is, and you're kind of accepting it and dooming yourself to stay that way when you don't really need to be naming it as that. You just go through what you go through, and then it stays a temporary thing rather than something that continues to hold on to you because you're holding on to it. Like, people who call themselves that stuff, they have like a little bit of pride about it, and you notice it because when you try to help them or whatever, you tell them something, they defend it. They start, like, you criticize the incel. I point over here because I picture like an incel sitting there. So I'm pointing at the guest chair, but it's empty. But people take pride in this stuff, and then it's become like they identify with it. And then when you criticize their attachment to it, they get like they're stuck in that situation even more. So I like where Jesse says, don't be calling it that stuff. Those are worldly words, and we shouldn't be joining into the worldly words. No such thing as depression, anxiety. Well, I mean, anxiety is a feeling, right? But anxiety, people have made it like a medical term, which it does affect the body, but and the body kind of affects it too. But if your spirit's weak. But I think that I don't think you should be calling yourself that stuff. And then the other thing is, you can't look to me or Jesse or anybody for the help, or your boyfriend. You know what I mean? You have to you have to seek what's right yourself and take that responsibility.
Yeah. And then what's funny is that they have these prescriptions, right? It says for if you're sad, if you have fear, they give you a pill. And I was like, how do a pill supposed to help you out with I'm thinking of this now. I was like,
I know what you mean.
How did this pill supposed to help you out with being sad and having fear?
Yeah, it's just addressing the symptoms.
Emotion.
It's just addressing the symptoms. It's not addressing the cause. It's a mess. I don't believe in that stuff at all. People, they push that on anybody who's going through anything. And it's such a lie. It's so no wonder America's giving up our own country. It's shameful.
Yeah, America is like so screwed up emotionally. I have a lot of emotions too about my relationship, about my relationship with God, and about my children, and about my past.
And you've gotten counseling already, right, Ebony?
I need it really bad.
Oh, you haven't gotten it yet?
No, I haven't gotten counseling yet. I talked to Jesse at the, I called Bond and I talked to him for a little bit on the phone, but
call the office and request counseling, and then also make sure that you're committed to the silent prayer thing that Jesse recommends.
Yeah, because
are you committed to that already?
I'd be trying to do it, but
okay.
I don't know.
So that's a no. Yeah, call for counseling. You're gonna no amount of in fact, even the counseling is not going to help if you don't do stuff do this for yourself. So
are you recommending that I just leave my boyfriend?
That would be my recommendation. Yeah, I mean, I have told you that in the past, but but I don't want you taking my advice or Jesse's advice or something just because you think that that's what's going to save you, because that's just an outwardly act. It doesn't mean that doesn't mean you're stopping the sin, because the sin is within, and you got to do what you see is right. And the other thing is, like, you have to really, like, you're going through all this stuff, you got to seek God for yourself, you know?
Right. And,
because you can listen to us I can be working here for years and never get better. People could be listening to Jesse, coming to meetings for years, and you'll see it, you maybe even see it happen and never change, maybe even get worse. So just because you're listening to somebody that's telling the truth, it doesn't make you better.
Yeah, because I think it's getting worse. Sometimes I'll be like, I need to be plugged back into the matrix.
Yeah. I got to go, Ebony. Nice to talk with you, though.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Oh, man. Drew, first-time caller out of Oklahoma City. How are you doing, Drew?
What's up? I'm better than I deserve. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you. So corny, man.
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I do. You're coming in great.
Awesome. So I wanted to talk to you about Andrew Yang. He's a Democratic candidate, but I had a question about Jesse first.
Okay, go for it.
So what I think it's better to be committed to the truth than it is to be committed to your own ideas. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I think it's a beta if you're presented with new information that's true and it goes against what you currently believe, I think it's better to believe the false, like what you believe anyways, because it's like, are you more committed to the truth or are you more committed to your own beliefs? Because that's wrong. And that's what Jesse is.
No.
Yeah, he is. Let me tell you why. Because
all right.
I've watched all his videos pretty much. And I've written down all the times that he's hypocritical.
This is an example of one of those people that can listen to the truth and just never get it. Go for it.
Yeah, that's Jesse right there.
I'm talking about you.
Let me tell you why. So
right.
He says, so when that little kid came in, when that little kid called in and told him, oh yeah, people can sin. Oh, like you're not free of sin. And he gave scriptures to back it up.
No, he didn't.
But then he gave scriptures to back it up. And Jesse said, oh no, you're not supposed to, you don't need to believe in the scriptures. Remember that? That kid said,
I have no idea what you're talking about, man.
And then, well, then he has a video with those black Hebrew Israelites.
You know, you gotta either just get to the point real fast or call Jesse later because I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm getting to my point.
Hurry.
So here's my point. So Jesse says, don't believe in the scripture. But then, whenever somebody says, he says man over woman, or God over man.
Stay close to your phone, Drew.
Child.
Stay close to your phone.
That's the scripture. Huh?
Stay close to your phone.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh. Yeah, so he uses scripture when it backs up his beliefs, but when it doesn't back up his beliefs, he says, oh, don't listen to scripture. So
scripture does back up his beliefs, man.
Say that again?
Scripture does back up his beliefs.
It does when he says man over woman, woman over child. But whenever that kid says, oh, you can't sin, or when he says you can sin, Jesse says, no, you can't sin.
Right, because the Bible says you cannot sin. The Bible does say that. So I don't know what you're talking about.
That example. And the other thing is,
you gave a fake example. You gave a fake example of the Bible. No, you just gave a fake one. So you can't be giving me another example. You just gave me a fake one.
So can you be angry or no? Because Jesus was angry.
No, he wasn't.
Yep. Because he wasn't. In Mark chapter 3, in Mark chapter 3, it says when he was going to heal that guy on the Sabbath,
right.
The Pharisee said, "You can't heal anybody on the Sabbath." And then it says Jesus looked upon them with anger. And in Ephesians it says, "Be angry, but sin not."
And three verses later it says, "Get rid of all anger." So what's your point?
What my point is that there's a separation between sinning and being angry. You see, you can be.
I don't think you know what. I don't think you know what anger is. I don't think you're just making assumptions when most of the Bible says to get rid of anger, and then a couple of examples where it looked to the writer like Jesus was angry, so called, and then another point where it says another translation is where it says tremble and sin not. It doesn't say be angry and sin not. It says tremble and sin not.
Well,
so
the
that's
KJV, which is the right
KJV
one,
people.
the original one, says you can be angry but sin not.
You know, you're like a Pharisee. You're like a Pharisee that tries to catch Jesus in intellectual nonsense. And that's what you're doing with Jesse. You're fake.
No.
Yes.
No.
All right, gotta go, man. I gotta go.
Disagree.
No, you're wrong.
Andrew Yang, the Democratic
I gotta go, man.
president.
No, I gotta go. You can call me about Andrew Yang tomorrow. Immature. Isaac out of Chicago. How you doing, Isaac? First time caller. I'll give you 1 minute. Go for it.
I want to see if you stand by this or not.
All right.
There was a video where Jesse contradicted himself. He said that people who have sex out of wedlock are immoral people, but he himself has sex out of wedlock. Do you think that Jesse's a moral person? Yes or no?
Yes, he's moral.
But he just said that if you have sex out of wedlock, you're not moral.
Yeah, he was immoral. He was immoral when he had sex out of wedlock.
But he's moral now?
Yeah, he stopped having sex out of wedlock. That's one
How do you
aspect
know that?
of morality. How do I know that? What the heck?
How do you know that?
Well, that's a creepy question. All right, gotta go, Isaac. Mentally ill people. Jerome and everybody else, I'm sorry I cannot get to you, but thank you for calling into the show. And we'll see you tomorrow for Thursday. Make sure you remember, subscribe to Bond or Bill the Man on YouTube. Ring the bell, and we're gonna be premiering that Sunday service from 2008. You're gonna hear me in it. It's funny. Well, kind of. Maybe sad. All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. TheHakeReport.com for summaries and write-ups on the news reports. JLPTalk.com for all things The Jesse Lee Peterson Show. All right, take care, guys.